Another Parachain auction is in the books. Moonriver has secured the second slot, and it won't be long before the power of Ethereum smart contracts come to Kusama. Today we have with us Derek Yoo, the CEO at Purestake, whose team just won the second Kusama Parachain auction. Welcome back to the podcast, Derek.
Hey,
How's everything going?
yeah, thanks for having me back on. I feel like it wasn't even that long ago I was on for the first time, so it's great to be back again.
Yeah, and under great pretenses. Did you guys get a chance to celebrate or anything with the team? I mean, what time did it happen for
I was
you?
like 4:30 this morning, I think, is when the auction was won, and then there's some onboarding stuff, and then there's some more stuff happened at 6:30. So yeah, it's been an early morning for us, but that's the way things go.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about how the experience went? When did you guys think you were going to be winning, and how did that whole countdown to the final announcement go?
Yeah, well, I think we're quite pleased with the result. I mean, I think the result is great, and yeah, I mean, I think what would I say? I mean, yeah, I mean, just had many thoughts today. It's been a bit of a whirlwind of a day, but I think for me that there's a few things that are pretty important for me around what's happened today for us. I mean, one is that we work in intangibles all day long, right? So we work, it's kind of software. It doesn't really exist anywhere. It's like there's this community you talk about, but what does that mean really? And so I think the thing that's kind of cool for me today, especially today, is that there's just like tangibility has been brought to things. So like now there's like an actual chain, it's producing blocks, and that's something we've been working on for like a long time now. So that's really cool. And then this whole idea of like community. I mean, I think the crowd loan mechanism itself, it's kind of this like manifestation like of the will of your community, basically, right? So again, so I think that's like very cool too, right? Is just to see this thing that is it's just black and white like numbers basically that like somehow represents like the willpower of your community, right? So I think that's something that I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think the theme of community is definitely one that's pretty pervasive through all the teams so far that we've spoken with. I mean, to have a group of people commit over 200,000 kusama to something to support you with no immediate expectations of anything, it's pretty dramatic. I also saw a lot of people on Twitter getting very excited about the fact that, I mean, your platform is going live, and that being able to migrate and move Ethereum smart contracts over to Kusama is just right around the corner, and I think that's super exciting. So, what would you say you're looking forward to most over the next few weeks? What can we expect to see?
Yeah, so no, it's a great question. So I think the main thing that we're doing is so we have this kind of we're calling it phase zero. So we're kind of entering now from kind of not being a parachain to being a parachain, but also we're calling it kind of our launch sequence. So we have a 4 phase launch sequence. We're in phase what we're calling phase zero right now, which is just, hey, we want to make sure that we kind of successfully kind of like get ourselves up and running as a parachain. There's blocks being produced by collators. They're being finalized by the relay chain. It kind of isn't doing much, but there's still like a lot of things that have to go right to even just have this be the case. And so, that's phase zero for us, right? And like, in fact, Purestake, the company, like we're doing all the block production right now. So like we're running like the collators right now. So it's entirely kind of centralized in a way. I mean, we're attached to Kusama, which is decentralized, but right now the chain is centralized because we're like running, all of the collators are producing all of the blocks. And so we have this kind of 4 phase approach where it's really just designed for safety. So, we've kind of have feature flagged like different, kind of systems basically. And so we're going to like successively activate like more and more functionality over the course of the next, let's call it like, 6 weeks or so, like this is kind of what we're estimating. And so what that looks like is this. And so like right now in phase zero, we're producing blocks, everything looks good. Like, so we're good there. The next upgrade is going to be to kind of replace ourselves as the block producers with like we have a whole kind of decentralized community of collators that have been producing blocks for us on our testnet. And so they're kind of on standby right now. And, when we go to the next phase, we'll be bringing in all of these, third party kind of external collators that will be producing blocks. And I would say this is something that, we've kind of have specifically put a focus on because we do think it's quite important to have if you really want kind of censorship resistance and a real
Hmm.
decentralized system, to have this kind of permissionless set of collators. So that's kind of the next phase for us. Then we're activating the governance features. We have a whole kind of on-chain governance system, so that would be the next step. Then there's kind of the removal of this like pseudo key, which is kind of this god key, if you will, right, that allows us to make changes. We remove that, and so then the system is truly governed by the governance system. And then the last step is basically the activation of transfers and the EVM kind of capabilities. At that point, then all systems are turned on, and that's kind of I don't call it the point of no return, but it's a but by then, like, we want to make sure that everything is kind of in a solid state. So the idea is that we can go to each step, monitor, make sure everything's like looking like healthy and good, that there's no problems, and then we move to the next step. So it may be a little bit sooner than what I said, but we just want to make sure to do things one step at a time, just to make sure that things are safe.
Well, with all this planning, it sounds like you're trying to game against the chaos score here, huh? You're trying trying to mitigate that, huh?
You want a little bit of chaos, but not too much, right? So not
Not
too
too
much,
much
not too
chaos.
much.
Okay,
So
that'll be the new slogan for Kusama. Not too much
yeah,
chaos,
exactly.
just enough.
Just enough to
Well,
keep things
that's
interesting, right? So
yeah, yeah, exactly. So while all this is going on, developers and other interested parties that want to build on top of it, what will they be doing in the meantime, waiting to watch and see how this goes?
yeah, I mean, like I said, this process I'm talking about like is not going to take like a terribly long time. It's just so I think that we are kind of right now making sure that a lot of partners that we've been working with, that they are going to be kind of ready to go as soon as we reach this like stage 4. So that's there's a pretty broad range of projects at this point, but in particular, I would say that there's been a concentration in kind of the DeFi area. And so that's quite important for us to make sure that some of these key partners are deployed like early on. And in fact, we're kind of looking on to the next kind of phase, where we're really going to be focused on making sure that these deployments are successful. And we have some other things that we'll be doing, like for example, some programs around liquidity bootstrapping that will help us kind of get activity going. We'll be doing that in partnership with the Moonbeam Foundation. That's actually the one running a lot of these programs. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that, like, on the one hand, back to your comment of like, oh, you look like it's kind of like the anti-chaos kind of thing, and we're doing a lot. But keep in mind that everything we're doing here is also this kind of dry run for what's going to happen on Polkadot as well with our Moonbeam deployment.
Hmm.
So it's not just the code, but it's also just like the process, right? That like is being trial run. So that's an important thing too. And then as we're get learnings on other things, we can kind of refine that process such that we again like go into like our Polkadot deployment like more prepared. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would say that what we see is the great opportunity now is also we want to show the strength of kind of our ecosystem, right? I think that's kind of our main strategy. I'd say that's really our I mean, I like to think we do a lot of things well, but it's really the strength of our ecosystem is probably the thing that's most notable for us. So we want to, we think the opportunity is to really show early deployments onto Moonriver, show traction and user adoption and other things, and we think that's going to position us well then, like as we head into our Moonbeam launch.
Yeah, and I guess part of the fun part of participating with the community also for them is the idea that they will be getting some kind of distribution of rewards as well for supporting the crowd loan and the auction. Do you have any timeframes for around the token distribution and how that will work?
Yeah, so for folks, so obviously the crowd loan itself was run by the Moonbeam Foundation, and so there's a lot of details on their site. But just to summarize, there was kind of a rewards pot of 30% of the Genesis supply of Moonriver. And so basically, if for folks that contributed to the crowd loan, you would get basically a kind of ratable portion of that rewards bucket, depending on what your contribution was relative to the total amount contributed. We didn't have, unlike some other teams, we didn't have kind of a thing where it was early or later or different bonuses. I mean, we
Yeah.
kept it like fairly simple. It was just rewards pot, make a
Thank you.
contribution,
Thank you.
and
On
then
behalf of Kraken, thank you.
okay, and then it's like it's a percentage basically. But yeah, in
Yeah.
terms of distribution, in fact, I probably would mention that there is kind of the on-chain behavior, but then there probably could be potential decisions that Kraken would make in terms of like how to implement this. But yeah, from the on-chain perspective, 30% of the rewards amount that a contributor stands to receive is would be available immediately when we hit that like phase 4, that EVM and transfer is being enabled. And then the remainder kind of vests over the course of the anticipated 48-week slot occupancy. So then it's actually accrues on a block by block basis and can be can be claimed. Basically, whatever's been accrued can be claimed with a transaction. So you can do it as often as you want, although there is some gas fees. I imagine, and I don't speak out of turn, I imagine that Kraken probably has like you guys might have your own plan around the frequency with which that claiming will happen.
Yeah, and we definitely post all the details around what we do on our support center and our blog when we have more to share, for sure. So stay tuned. Check out the Twitter account. And so I guess once again, where can everybody who's listening go and find out more about what's going on and what they can expect to see next from the whole process?
Yeah, I would say that obviously our websites. So that's moonbeam.network and moonbeam.foundation are two important websites. So that's a great place to go. And then both our Telegram and our Discord are quite active. So the Telegram I'd say tends towards the more non-technical discussions, and like a Discord is really the home for where kind of the more technical discussions happen. But all of those places are great places to visit us.
Well, thanks again, Derek, for jumping on and giving us a chance to chat real quick. I know you guys are really busy with the blocks being generated on the Kusama chain, and congratulations again on winning the second Parachain auction slot. So good luck, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Well, thanks, thanks very much for having me, and you guys have been a great partner. So thanks for all your support as well.
This content is not financial or investment advice. All interviews and discussions are opinions only. Kraken does not endorse the accuracy of this content. None of the following information should be construed as a recommendation to support any specific Parachain project or to participate in Parachain auctions in general. See our terms of service for more information.